I really wish there was some kind of countdown or something. I just like make a huge assumption that we are live. If we are live and you guys are struggling with keywords or having a hard time using the keywords to build a title, brand, or description, tonight's show is perfect for you.
To introduce ourselves, my name is Nate Hibbert. This is my brother Steven Hibbert, whatever side he's on, I always forget. We're just trying to show you guys kind of like the baseline of where you can start and how you can build your own system. And that's, you know, what all of the teaching we've done over the last 2 years has taught us is the best to do is instead of showing you like, you know, the very like same system that we're using for our business, kind of showing you where to start from, and then you can build off from there. So as Steven's showing you keywords tonight, keep in mind that you can either go one way or the other. You can either dive more into this if that's what you're interested in and learn all the tools that he's using and the exact way that he's doing keywords, or you can kind of keep with what we're going to show you tonight, which is the way that I prefer to do keywords, and just use a tool that we're going to show off, which is our tool, and just kind of the baseline way of doing keywords. This is what I've used. I've been competitive using this method, but there's definitely room to grow if you wish to do that.
Yeah, I guess I'll take a step back again and say like POD is a little different than almost every other way of selling, at least to me, because it allows you to test the market. So you don't have to come out the gate perfect. You can just do what Nathaniel likes to do and just kind of quickly get listings up that have some keywords in there, and they aren't just like straight skeleton listings where it's like you only put a title in there and then nothing else. You get a little bit more of a robust listing to help you. But once you kind of put a few lines in the water, multiple listings to see what works, then you can optimize as you move forward. You can go back and look for those listings and see if they're showing up or not, and then make a better decision. I was talking to my mother this morning. She actually moved back in with me. She's trying to do KDP. I'm just trying to explain to her all the different ways of using KDP, and she's having a huge stumbling out the gate, I think, with just understanding like the research process and how things work on Amazon. And I think that's what I'm going to attempt to do tonight, is just like at least pull back the curtains a little bit so you have a better understanding of what you're trying to do and how things work. I put some slides together, so let me actually share my screen. This is a very common question that I get is like, what are keywords? And for me, the easiest way to define this are keywords are just the words that customers are using to navigate online. There is no like best keyword or the right keyword. The more research that you do and the better you understand the customers, there will be keywords that those customers prefer using. Over time, that might change, and they might prefer to search a different way or use a different keyword. So there's never like you have it locked in and it's dialed in forever. So just understand that it's a moving target, but what you're ultimately trying to do is identify the words that your customers are using. Another way to think about this is just brick and mortars versus online stores. When you go to an actual brick and mortar store, you can walk up and down the aisles. There's always like the aisle markers to kind of tell you what's in that aisle. You can peruse up and down the aisle to see what different products, what different brands, and be able to decide by physically picking that product up, looking at all the information, and making a informed buying decision. It's very different online. Amazon doesn't have I'm going to lie now because they do actually have some stores that you could go in and buy, but they don't have all of their products in any one store. You can't really go through their fulfillment center and even like pick out the packages or pick out the products that you're looking for. And it's not organized in a way for a customer to come in. So their interface, the way that you are able to find products on their site, is through their website. As this picture shows, like you're going to have to type in some words to get what you're looking for. I don't know exactly how every customer searches. Though I've been selling online for 15 years, I kind of have an understanding of how customers use the search bar. I think, especially on Amazon, a lot of people come in and have an idea for the product. They type that in initially, and then they can't find what they want because there's so many products that they're going back to the search bar and putting additional words. Those additional words, along with the initial words that they put in, those are the words that you want in your listing because that's what customers are typing in to hopefully find your shirt. I'm going to throw it to my brother because I know I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible. Did I do a decent job there of explaining this point about keywords?
Yeah, I really like this like visual aid of just understanding the difference and why, like I said at the beginning, like keywords are so important. I think we've even gone as far as to say that they're like lifeblood of a print-on-demand business before,
Yes.
because like Steven said, no one's just walking into a store and saying, oh, that shirt design is funny. There's no way to like really stumble upon one of our listings. We have to be very intentional with the keywords that we're using. And on top of that, Amazon's not giving us a lot of room to put those keywords in. So really every place that we have the brand, the title, the bullet points, even the description, we have to use those wisely. And knowing how to do that is a big struggle, right? But we realized, oh, the power is in knowing what customers are typing in and what keywords, are leading to sales. So now that's where we start. We want to know from the beginning, from the jump, where are these keywords, or what are these keywords that the customers are typing in, and then how can we provide them with imagery, graphics, or products that they would like to purchase after typing in those keywords.
I liked all of that. Putting on my producer hat, I just wish that we would have went back to our faces. And this is why I'm trying to do a few different things on the call, but I think anytime we feel we're going to talk for more than 30 seconds, just cut your camera back on, and then I can stop the screen share so you can make that point. I just think it feels so much more alive when people can see your face instead of just seeing the slide. I know this was a last minute call to put the slides in there, but just in future for us. But I'll go to my next point. What is indexing? And I guess maybe I'm assuming that a lot of people know this Dewey Decimal System. I know when I was growing up, we had a library pretty close to our house. So I was constantly in that library just looking at different things and always trying to learn. This is a quick look at the Dewey Decimal System. It's really how libraries are able to put their books in the library so that people can find them. A place like a library has millions of books, especially our library had 4 or 5 stories. I can't remember, but it was huge. And they just had things organized very well so that you could go and find those products. Indexing is the same process that Amazon is attempting to do. They're trying to locate your product when somebody searches for it and then be able to put it in front of the customer. There's a lot more going on. I'm just trying to make this as simple as possible so you can understand indexing. To me, indexing just means that Amazon has identified the keywords in your listing so that when you're on Amazon and customers are possibly typing in those keywords, that your listing will be indexed for those keywords. And to be indexed really means that by going into Amazon, typing in the keywords that you're looking for, your listing should appear within those search results. Why I say should is because Amazon, as of recently, is doing some odd things about how they're showing products. I think because they're having such a large catalog, they're saying above or below this amount in the results page. That's why we kind of suggest that you guys look for things under 1,000. And also when you start going deeper to the page, I think Amazon is starting to pull things that might not necessarily index, but they're just trying to get something in front of that customer. They're understanding that most customers are going to that first page, and that's what they're concerned about. But there are a certain amount of their customers that like to peruse and go through each page and just get a better understanding of what products might be there. And that's why I think they start throwing in a whole bunch of things. And that's why you can start seeing those results page really jump up. So the first page might have 500, the next page might have 10,000. That's why we teach just to look at that first page. We just want to know, what does Amazon think of the keyword phrases that we put in, and then start going and understand the customer from that point of view on the first results page. Oh, with that information, the next thing you're going to have to do is gather keywords. I know everyone does not love research as much as me, because my brother is not a fan of gathering keywords. He can do it and make the listings, but that's not his specialty. Just like art is definitely not my specialty. But I would suggest anybody thinking about this or doing this as a business, try to gather as many keywords as you can. The more keywords that you get, the better it will be and the easier it will be for you to make listings, test different markets, and have a catalog of keywords that you can use. If you're like Nathaniel, I would suggest a minimum of at least 5 or 10 keywords to start to build your listings. I have KISS under gathering keywords. This is a kind of in-house joke that me and Nathaniel have. Every time I start talking about keywords, he's always like, this is way too much. You're going way too deep. You got to find a simpler way to talk about this. So it stands for Keep It Simple, Steven. I know a lot of people struggle with keywords. That's one of the main reasons I'm attempting to take our in-house tool and allow it for more people to start using it, and for free. Yes, that's free. I love free. I'm always trying to help people. The process of making listings is sometimes difficult, and especially gathering keywords sometimes is difficult, and I'm trying to make it easier for everybody to do this process. I'm going to pull up the same landing zone that we used last month. I did this last month, but I'm going to do it again quickly using our tool so you can kind of see the power of using our tool. And I'm going to have Nathaniel probably do some, or explain how to do some trademark checks, because that's another big question that we get. And then I'll show you how we're using that in our listing. So we found this landing zone last month. If you missed that, you can definitely go back. All those videos are cataloged inside our YouTube page. But what I do is I don't necessarily look at the sponsored ads, because I feel like they didn't really use the keywords to get here as much as they're paying Amazon to show up here. So I think it is good to run sponsored ads, and we'll cover that later. But for me, as I'm trying to gather keywords, I'm going to look for shirts that I might possibly be making. In this landing zone, Nathaniel talked about the silhouette of this guy riding on the quad, the different colors. That's the type of shirt that I want to create. So I'm going to be looking at those styles of shirts and opening those up and pulling keywords from those competitors. Like this one that has FPV, I'm assuming this means first person view. It's drone racing. That's not really quad bike. So I don't really want to be pulling keywords from this, because it's not necessarily the customer that I am going after. I'm just going to open 3 of these. If this was something that I was going to do, I would try to open at least 10 so I can gather more keywords. It just makes it easier when you're looking at more keywords in our tool to filter out what the more common words are.
Yeah, and I just want to pause real quick. If
Let's
you're
go to
wondering,
faces real quick.
oh, you have to give me
Okay.
permission.
This is another, I apologize.
All right.
Trying to get better at being a producer.
Well, I just wanted to pause real quick and say, if you're feeling lost or confused at this point, like how we found that landing zone or any of that, know that we're on kind of the third part of our 3-part series here of Discover, Understand, and Serve. And we're now just serving these customers. So we've already found them, we kind of understand them, and now we want to serve them with the information that we have on them. So we have this landing zone. We've talked about some of the designs that we're making. And so now in this month, we're going to be talking about how do we actually use that landing zone to pull those keywords. And next week, when I get to take over, I'm going to be showing you guys how to use the designs that are already there and discover or look at some of the patterns and things that we're seeing, and how we make our own unique design, taking inspiration from what's already working. So I just want to throw that out there for anybody who might feel lost or confused at this point. You're like, okay, great, he pulled up this page he already preemptively had. That's not helping us. Just letting you guys know kind of where we're at in this process, and showing now that we're on the third part of this. So if you did miss those last 2 parts, definitely go back and watch those, as I think they're a big help, and again give you some story along with why we do things the way that we do them.
I think when we teach people, people go, oh, it was so easy for you to just put that together. And I think that was the part where it was like, people might not feel empowered to be able to feel like they can accomplish this, and just know that it did take us a long time. And that's why we are very passionate about helping other people. We've made a ton of mistakes and a lot of blood, sweat, tears, pain, frustration, and we're trying to save you guys all of that by learning from our mistakes. Why we're showing off this process is like, that's what both of us feel are very key points of this business. You need a foundation, you need systems, you need a way to process this information so that you can build a business from there. We spend a lot of time learning that and figuring out what works the best. What we're showing you is kind of our process, but you should take that and start testing it out and using elements to figure out your process. Most people probably don't have a brother that has been doing art for 15 years or a brother that's been doing keywords for 15 years. So to straight copy what we're doing is going to be very difficult for you if you're just starting off. So that's why we're trying to speed everything up for you to go, okay, what are the main points that I should be doing? We feel like the most important thing is thinking about the customer first. That was the biggest like jumping off point for this realization of, oh, we can actually do this POD business because we understand if we focus or start with a customer, everything else gets easier. We can actually build a system and filter out what we should be focusing on. And the second part of this is like testing. that is very difficult to do if you're all over the place testing a lot of different things. If you have a customer base, then the same keywords can almost be used, and then you'll have a better understanding of, oh, the people that are looking for quad aren't really typing in the word quad, they're typing in four-wheeler. Now I have that information so I can make a lot more shirts to target those type of customers. All right, so what I did was just open up multiple listings. I would suggest that you guys open at least 5 or 10 of them. And then with our tool, or you can manually do this, go through and just look at the keywords that most of your competitors are using. In my mind, if Amazon is indexing these competitors and showing up the place that I want to show up, looking at my competitors is a very good way to figure out what Amazon is recognizing that the customers are using. It's not a direct correlation that all customers will use this, but it's a much better place to start than just guessing and having no idea and going, what do people that ride four-wheelers, what keywords do they use? Like, it's very difficult to just abstractly think about the keywords instead of going to Amazon, seeing what autocompletes, because you know at least some people are typing that in. Now, leverage Amazon, look at the landing page, see patterns, and see what your competitors are doing and what keywords they're using to get there. So that's why we're pulling up these competitors and then looking at their listings. So you can manually go through. We have a tool. So I guess I'll show the right button click. We copy the title and the brand. I go to my tool, and then I just paste what I'm seeing. I'm going to go back to that listing. Now that I have the title and the brand, I'm going to go to their bullet points. These first 3 are normally the standard bullet points that Amazon puts in all their listings. So I'm going to copy the next 2 and then also paste that into my tool. I feel like I'm getting tongue-tied now from trying to say this quickly. So I've copied all the information that I want from this first listing. I'm going to close that out. It's going to immediately bring up the next one that I have. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to copy the brand and the title, go back to my tool, paste that in, and then the same thing for the bullet points. And if they don't have bullet points written out and they just have the 4 standardized ones, you can just not copy any of those bullet points and look for possibly another competitor to look at their listing. Again, copy the title, the brand, and the bullet points. I'm gonna go to the last one. Copy this. And one last time, put that into our tool. Copy the bullets. And then paste it. And why we put this tool together in the first place was to help us speed up our process of seeing the patterns. Before, when I was doing this with Nathaniel, it was a lot of manually me going through and seeing what works, what's not working, and then from the stuff that was working, trying to identify patterns in the 500 Excel spreadsheets that I had open and just seeing what was working. And then I noticed that, oh, if we target this customer and we're identifying these keywords and we're testing these keywords and that we see that they're actually working, we can build more listings using those same keywords and increase our conversions. And I also identified that the competitors in that same space were all using roughly the same keywords. So I wanted a way to quickly look at all of the competitors and see what the keywords that we're using the most. That way I could try to speed up this learning process and then start testing keywords that were used more commonly in other people's listings. So this tool, I can dump all the keywords here, and then it tells me how many times that keyword is used. Another thing that I wanted to do was put all of the unique keywords here, so I didn't have to go back and put a list together of all the keywords. It was just a simpler way to have them all right here, so I could copy and paste them. You can also export this, and it shows you the singles, the duals, and the triples. And we use this in building our title and our brand. So if I go through just the singles category and I'm looking for the most commonly used words, I'm looking for keywords that my customers might be using. So the word "the" might be a very heavily used search keyword, but it's not necessarily going to help my listing get indexed. So I'm going to click out of any very common used words because they're not really truly going to help me, and then find what I think are the better customer identifying keywords. So ATV, I'm going to take away 2, or quad, is on your, racing is good. This t-shirt spelt this way. There's, I think, 5 different ways that Amazon indexes t-shirts. I am not going to have that here because I'm more than likely gonna have that in my listing anyway. It's not an additional word that I have to think about. And with this new batch uploader, Amazon's putting that onto the back of your title.
Yeah, you don't have to put any product-specific keywords in your titles anymore, and they actually tell you not to do that because of this new batch uploader.
So I just deleted out of some more commonly used keywords. I'm using racing, riding, quad, ATV. Birthday is a word that it is commonly used, but if you think your customers are more going to buy this as a birthday gift, it is a word that I would put into your listing. For this example, I'm not going to have it in there, but I just want to make a point that you're going to probably start seeing a lot of keyword-rich listings that have Christmas, that have holidays, that have Thanksgiving, that have Halloween. If you're making shirts to go after people searching in those times of the year, those are good keywords to use. They will not help you throughout the rest of the year. They won't necessarily hurt you, but just understand the keywords that you're looking at. And I guess this is what I'm trying to do tonight, is just help you better understand keywords, better understand indexing, and show you a way to do this and not have to take weeks to get a listing up, but just how to quickly get a listing up using the keywords that are commonly used. So I'm not going to use birthday. I'm not going to use who of the trails is something that I will love, not for this way, because I know it's four-wheeler. You can have the actual for, or you can have it spelled out for. In just gonna send apparel. Here's Christmas extreme. Ride and riding are very similar. I'm going to just say this, but not go too much in depth on this, but I would still put riding and ride in my listing because I want to make sure that Amazon understands that I want ride and riding and not rely on Amazon's matrixing. Was that a good enough way to explain that, brother? I'm always like...
Yeah, I guess my question is, would you still do that even if you didn't see that in this like top 10 most commonly used word area, like the singles? So would you still make it a point in your listing if you had the keyword writing to spell it all those different ways? Or are you only doing that because that word actually came up here?
If you're asking me, I would say, yes, I would try to put it in there if I understand the customer enough and know that the customer don't have a common way of searching this word. For people like you or people that are not heavy into keywords, I would say don't worry about that. If you see it, use it. So here you can see the word for and you can see the actual number for. If it shows up here, I would use both of them. If they don't, I wouldn't try to then like take a second and then think about all the other ways that people might search for four-wheeler, as in with the four and the spelling it out or the actual number. Like that takes time. I do think as you go after a customer base, you will understand that customer base, and then you will start to see what's selling and what's not selling, and then be able to better understand, oh, I should put for in there both ways, or ride and riding both in there, because it helps me sell more shirts, because Amazon will index those words properly when I have them single or in keyword phrases. Is that?
Yeah, I think that's a fair enough
very
answer.
Cautious to like answer any question to not like scare anybody off. I know, just like data or reading analytics or running PPC ads, there's like a fine balance between like knowing enough to get it done and knowing too much to where you're overthinking it and then not getting it done. So I'm trying to balance that out. I think before when I taught, I just would go very deep and then people would be like, that sounds amazing, but I'm never going to be able to do any of that. And then it would prevent them from taking action. And that's what I'm trying to avoid. I want to give you guys enough to take action, because I believe in POD, the number one thing is actually getting listings up and then understanding your customers that way, instead of like trying to overthink it and not do any listings. And I'm trying to release this tool, explain keywords in a way that you understand them, but it won't prevent you from taking action.
Yeah, I asked that question just to see your general advice, but knowing that the way I do keywords is just take these top 10 and throw them in there and call it a day.
Yeah, so these are the keywords. I've sorted them out. This just makes it easier. Me personally, I would do more than this, but for anybody just having a hard time like making listings, you're good right here. Because this tool will tell you, or you can at least sort the keywords to get 10, This tool will tell you the phrases and the triplets to be able to make a listing. I would take these words now along with these words and then try to build listings, titles that are keyword rich, brands that are keyword rich, and bullet points that are keyword rich. And I will show you some examples of that. It's a little bit of it's just experience. The more you do it, the better you'll get at it. And know that you can always go back to the landing zone and see what your competitors are doing. How did they create titles? How did they create brands? What are they doing for their bullets? For me to break down and show you exactly how I'm doing it, I don't think is going to be a benefit to you, because each individual landing zone is different, each customer is different, and then Amazon handles it different. If I teach you the concept of how to do it, it's way more powerful than me showing you exactly how I'm doing this and I use this word and then I use this word. Like, it's just difficult to copy exactly what I'm doing because it might not work for you depending on the landing zone that you're going after and depending on the customer and how they're searching. So using this tool will give you a better understanding of what keywords are being used on a specific landing zone, and then seeing the pairs and seeing the triplets and then going back and looking at the landing zone. That is how you will be able to build the titles, the brands, and the bullet points. And know that it doesn't have to be perfect. Get something up and then let Amazon index and show you where they're putting your shirt. That takes a little while to actually find it, but the landing zone is where you want to show up. If you're putting together a brand and a title and you're not showing up there, then going back to the tool, going back to the landing zone and thinking, how could I do a better job to let Amazon know I want to show up on this landing zone? I guess I want to stop here and have you do tangent test, because I guess this is where we are checking for trademark issues. So in this tool, I'm normally copying one of these words and then pulling up tangent test. Nathaniel said that I should probably show that tangent test is a Chrome extension and it automatically goes into your right button click. So if you download this and you have it inside Chrome and you're using a Chrome browser, if you right click, it will show up here. And this is I should put this, can you actually put that in the comments?
Yes.
This is more of your field of expertise. I wouldn't say either of us are experts. We're definitely not lawyers, but I think you have a much better way of explaining trademark than me. So I will do the button clicking, but if you just want to walk me through this process.
Yeah, so just go back to our tool and then highlight, ATV works or any of those keywords there, and then you can right click and send yourself to by clicking that tangent test button, you're actually sending yourself to the USPTO website, which is the United States Patent and Trademark Office. So this is the not Amazon legal side of things, but the actual government legal side of things as far as keywords that we can and cannot use. This website is great, but the actual search engines and the way that you move around is not very friendly. It's not very intuitive. They have created this little blue part above the website that you can see that just allows us to simplify our experience on this website. So basically, we're using the same database that you would be using if you just went straight to the USPTO office, but we're using a different search bar just to avoid kind of their interface for the website. So at the top there, you can see you can do different types of searches, whether you're doing clothing, books, or electronics, and you can do an exact match. The presets are always to be clothing and exact match to have those checked on, and that's the way that I use the tool. And so it just takes the keyword that you highlighted and right-clicked and put that right in the search bar. That's a lot simpler to use than trying to click through all of the regular trademark search options. So if you go ahead and hit that search button, it's going to take us directly to the area that we need to see for that word. So the word was quad, and you can start to see in this area that 1 through 11, there are different patents or trademarks that have been taken out, not patents, trademarks that have been taken out on that word. And basically, long story short, if you're like me and you see anything here, we just go ahead and avoid this. It means that at some point there was someone who wanted to trademark this word, and whether they did it for clothing or for other things, then usually we just go ahead and stay away from that. You can, like Stephen just did, click in and see what it's actually for. The goods and services is for beehives, which is obviously not clothing, so we don't really have to worry about it there. You can go ahead and click through all of those, especially the ones like you saw, Stephen, click on the ones that say live, because those are the ones that are still effective. This one's for office furniture, again, not the industry that we're in, so we're safe there. But that is the way that I do it is if you see anything here, you can just avoid it. There are tons of keywords out there, so don't feel like, oh, I just lost this huge keyword. But if you want to spend a little bit of time going through it, you can just look through that last column that says alive or dead. And if it says alive, click in there, like you saw, Stephen, go to that goods and service area and check for what it is exactly. There, we have videos talking about how to use this a little bit more in depth and how to traverse, I guess, the U.S. office website, so you can get to know that that website a little bit better. If you're running into a lot of walls, or if you're pulling up a lot of keywords, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't use any of these. You can go a little bit deeper, but that is just kind of the shortened version of how to use this website. Now, if you put this in and it says there are no records, then you're good to go. You can go ahead and use whatever keyword that you want. Or that keyword, sorry, that you typed in. You can use that however you would like.
I'm just trying to find one that might have no, so like something like this.
Exactly. So if you see this page, that's a good indication that you can use that keyword how you would like to.
So I really don't want to scare anybody off. Like, you do have to do your due diligence, but don't be fearful. Again, this is a experience. The more time you put in, the more you do this, the better you'll get at it. And like Nathaniel said, if it's something there and you feel odd about using it, we always say, like, if it's gray, just stay away. Like, if there's any kind of pause or hesitation, just don't use it. So in this case, we'll use ATV, racing, riding, and just take away quad. And then we can just click it here and go, okay, that's not a word that I want to use. And I'll do other things. I'll use other keywords. I shouldn't say just other things.
Yeah, and just to further this point, today, September 9th, Amazon, March by Amazon team just changed a bunch of their terms of service and updated some areas and made it a little bit more strict. So those are the reasons that I usually, like Steven said, if it's great, we just stay away. Even if other people are doing it, even if they're making a ton of money, we care about the longevity of our accounts more than the right now. So we're usually just trying to think ahead. We don't want to run into any problems. I'm not going to go back and check any of these keywords. Steven might, because he likes keywords, but I'm not going back and double checking all the millions of keywords we've used at this point. So I just want to stay far away from anything that would get my account in trouble, even down the road. We've seen things happen on YouTube where people's stuff gets demonetized because they weren't following the rules exactly the way they thought they should, or the rules changed. So that's always what's kind of in the back of our head. We're not just okay, it's going to stay the same way. Even over the last 3 years or almost 4 years that we've been selling print on demand, things have changed drastically, and just trying to stay above the water on all that stuff. That's kind of our opinion on it, is just, there might be some money to be made right now, but if it gets your account in trouble, then, you're kind of losing out on a lot of work and time and effort that we've put into this account. So we just don't want to do that.
I'm just going to quickly show, I did actually make a brand and title. I just want to quickly show them. And then the second to last week, when we show how to actually make the listing and pull up Amazon and choose the batch uploader, I'll go a little bit more in depth of the mindset behind building these listings. But I do want to just show off our tool again. And then I love keywords. So I'm doing a little bit of a deeper dive. I'm thinking about, are people going to be searching for with the actual word? Are they going to be typing in the actual number? And then I'm just using that information to build a listing. So I just want to show these to go, the brand is a place that Amazon looks to pull keywords to index your listing. So I say, make the brand keyword rich. Do not keyword stuff. 2 reasons, and how Nathaniel just pointed out, things are changing. Amazon does not like keyword stuffing, and you are writing these listings to do 2 different purposes. You're doing it for the bots that Amazon going in, looking at the keywords and indexing for, and you're doing it for human beings that are searching on Amazon and possibly reading your title and your brand. There's a lot of listings on Amazon, I'm not gonna point anybody out, but that are just keyword stuffed, and you look at it and you go, what is this product? There's a million different keywords in this listing or in the title. The title's super long. I don't know what this product is. And then just normally go on to the next product, especially in t-shirts when it's like so flooded up. They're normally just going, seems odd. I'm going to go away and look at another product. So hilarious instead of funny. That's the keyword I'm using because funny I think is overused and I don't necessarily want to throw myself in with a lot of those people. But funny, extreme, motorsports, ATVT, again, I'm pulling all those keywords from this tool. They're normally in here. I'm actually downloading this and doing a lot deeper of a dive. But for the title, I'm also keyword rich titles. Whatever I'm putting on the shirt, I'm also trying to put in the title, because if people are searching for that, that one that's like build it, fix it, race it, repeat, those keywords you want in your listing, because people that are searching for that are going to be typing that in, and you want Amazon to identify your listing with that keyword phrase. And then I've added for the number, not the letter, wheeling quad racing t-shirt. And then our bullets, we have friends that are copywriters. We are not, but we've taken inspiration from what they've given us and then been able to find different ways to sneak in keywords. So know someone who loves, and then mudding was a keyword, would have fun wearing this, perfect riding. Those are the keywords. Anything in green is the keywords. And then we do the same thing for the second bullet here. And we will talk about this more. We actually show the listing. I just want to show an example of this tonight. And then with the description, there's kind of two different main thoughts of how we think about it. One is for speed, and the other one is for increased conversions. So we'll either use one of the bullet points, either number 1 or number 2, and put it in here. And for this example, I just copied the first bullet point, and I'm going to use that as my description. If I was doing a call to action, I would have something in there to say, go check out my brand, and it will pull up more shirts. So those are the two main schools of thought of doing that. Why we put anything in the description is because on mobile, the only thing they see is the description. They do not see any of the bullet points. So, yes, hopefully you guys have become more comfortable with keywords, become more comfortable with this process of gathering keywords, using the keywords, or at least pulling 10 keywords to be able to use in your listing. And can you start putting up listings using those keywords, building a title, building a brand, building some bullet points to be able to get those listings up consistently.
Yeah, so just a recap of what we did tonight. We want to show you guys how to build a process. This is kind of the first step in this last section that we're going through of understanding how to pull those keywords, how to do a quick trademark check on them. But we're highly encouraging you, don't get stuck here. If keywords scare you, if you're like me, if this is like, okay, I just want to know the very baseline way that I can do this and be effective, Stephen kind of showed you, go to that landing zone, pull some of the keywords from that, put it in our free tool that I just posted the link for down below, and use that top 10 tool or sorted thing that we have to pull the keywords from that and use those inside of your listing. That will make you much more competitive in a much more efficient way of getting those keywords in your listing. But like Stephen said at the beginning of the call, or somewhere in this call, being consistent is really what we think is the most powerful part of this print-on-demand business. If you learn nothing else from print-on-demand, at least learning how to be consistent will help you grow, over time. And so we want to make sure that every step that we're talking about, we're showing you guys, like, here's how you get it done. There's obviously like room to improve and there's room to grow in this area, but you at least want to know how to get things done so you can get those listings up consistently. That's such a huge part of this. Like, keywords are the bloodline, but being consistent, like, you're not going anywhere if you're not actually putting those listings up and bringing things to market. You can't make any money if you're not putting up those listings. So it is extremely important that you're being consistent.